I'm live.
And
We are live. We are
aye,
here. We are live. We are here. In the joyful place of the joyfulness, joyful instant. For some reason, it's not showing me live in my own one either, but
I know it is now.
I'm sincere. I'll just have to quickly restart that bit of it.
Welcome in,
Technical
Vox.
difficulty.
Welcome in.
Technical difficulty, but heck, it wouldn't be us if it a technical difficulty.
That's it, man. That is it. How are you, Vox?
Buggers. Thanks.
No worries, man. I didn't realise that it was still due.
Oh, damn it, man. It's always due, mate. It's always due. Oh, as always, man, this is what, episode 2 now?
This is series episode 2. Obviously, we had the kind of point 1, 2 and everything with the kind of trial episodes. This is us into series episode 2.
Well, since we're right in it, then we'll just go for the usual part of it, mate. Welcome to ScotsRant podcast. I'm co-host Gizzy the Gremlin.
I'm Reece William.
As usual with these podcasts, we enjoy a nice rant, a nice bitching session, and as always, an alcoholic beverage is a must.
Get us through. Needs must.
Thanks, man. Needs must, exactly. Especially with this time and effort that we're in.
I know, exactly. Tonight's kind of topics are mostly around game companies and the relationships that they have with creators. I've seen Vox's chat. Well, spending a little time between stuff getting done and picking so up. Nice. Being the wonderful Coach Vox that we know and love. And not fairly fancy Vox, fairly fancy. It's just adding another hat to my many list of things that we do. Isn't that right? one of the many things we turn our hand to at this point in our old age. But I know. Tell me about it.
Isn't even the word for it anymore.
I know we don't feel as young as I used to anyway. But
I don't think any is as young as we used to be.
No, but basically, I'll kind of start us off in the sense of one of the things that kind of spurred me onto this topic, and it was literally last weekend. I was like, hold on, not looked at anything. Let's what's in the news, and I was scrolling through Twitter, and it was actually I sent you the link about Nintendo and how they're, I mean, on off for the years they've kind of limited what they do to certain creators, because if they don't meet terms and standards, but and I do understand some aspects of it, but when they're fairly split. But a specific creator for Nintendo had an OnlyFans account, and from that Nintendo decided to cut all support, and I think I don't know where it ended, whether or not she was allowed to continue streaming Nintendo games, but I do that like any kind of sponsorship, games codes, all that kind of thing has been completely cut off. And I know that through years they demonetized content on for years. When people decided to stream Nintendo games, it was only specific streamers in partnership or specific games companies in partnership with Nintendo that could do it. Because I know Rooster Teeth did have, so obviously avoiding their current scandals now, but Rooster Teeth did play games with Nintendo when they were sponsored by Nintendo for different things, and did also create content around that for them. So that was definitely the kind of pick and choose who they do. So little streamers, obviously, if they don't meet the standard, Nintendo can kind of pull the plug on that monetization.
Meet their criteria, but that's the way. Like that is literally the way Nintendo works. Nintendo is just like the old, if you want the old rule way, when it comes to kids playing with each other. It's the whole, it's my ball and I decide who plays with it type rule that they have.
Yeah,
doesn't matter like who it really is. Like, look at anything, look at absolutely anything if you want. For example, like, well, look at the Smash communities and stuff.
Yeah,
one of the biggest and most loyal Smash communities is the Smash Melee community, and literally they love that game to bits. To them, it's the best game competitively, which I can actually agree with. At times, it is one of the better Smash games for competitive play,
Yeah,
and because a lot of the fans and a lot of the base wanted to stay with that game competitively, they never moved on to the likes of Smash Bros, Smash 3, Smash 4, all that, all the way up to where we are now.
yeah,
And Nintendo hated that. Like Nintendo, in a sense, if you want, just turned their back in the full of that. And it's, to me personally as well, it's not right. Like all these content creators that are out there, for example, if we're playing games like myself as well, I used to stream a lot of Splatoon.
yeah,
If you remember that, and I was a wee small Splatoon streamer and everything, but I'm still, if you want, face to them. If you go for that way,
yeah.
I'm I'm out there. And I'm basically turning around and saying, oh, by the way, this console's great. This thing is great. Everything about this is great. Uh, this, that, the next thing, and the minute, for example, if I turn round and criticize something, like the
Then
one
they
thing I'll
could turn on
criticize,
you. They could turn on you.
yeah,
Like one of the things that Vaughn's saying there is, it seems very much like how Blizzard have been, and that they
yeah,
kind of take it the title where they please. But it's like Blizzard have kind of reneged a wee bit on it because of the backlash, whereas Nintendo don't seem to do that, and it might be
no,
just
Nintendo
because
stick to their guns.
maybe that they just,
Nintendo stick to their
although
guns.
they've got quite a good player base, there might just be like they might not just be quite as vocal as like the WoW
Zelda
community.
Hubble.
Yeah, but they might not just may not be quite as vocal as the Blizzard community and stuff. But
It's not even that. It's not even that. Like the best way to put it forward, anyway, besides the titles that Nintendo get, if you want, Nintendo kind of get to come over to their consoles, like the likes of Mortal Kombat and stuff like that. Ones that are in them, as in their game, for example.
yeah,
Excuse me. Every game that Nintendo's ever released is a kid-friendly game.
yeah, that's fair.
There's no blood, there's no killing or that. Think about it like take the Mario games. You jump on a Goomba's head and it turns into a coin.
Yeah, so there's no
The
violence
stuff.
or
No,
no serious violence kind of thing.
no, it's the minimum. It's the minimum worth of violence you can get it. That's why, like, you can understand where they're coming from. They've put themselves forward as this kid-friendly thing. Like, there's your perfect example. One of their biggest sellers and stuff with this day is Pokemon games.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
It's one of the biggest sellers. It still is, and well, it's the way that like, I can go for a double-edged sword on Tantra here, where it's like just I caught Vox's wee comment there.
Aye, that's not stepping on the mushrooms. They were probably releasing some spoils that made you think it was money, but aye, on you go. Sorry, Gizzy.
I can use the double sword on Tantra with this as well, because think about the earlier games. It was Mario eating a mushroom, and what do we kind of use eating mushrooms as more and more older? Like you found this strange mushroom, if you want,
Yeah, I get that. Aye, that it
because
could be for older people. It could be seen as like a drug reference, and
yeah.
like,
Well, think about it this way: if we go down, you can if you keep going down the same path of that, start going looking into some cartoons.
oh yeah,
Looking at all the
Ren and Stimpy is just a massive trip of just
exactly.
everything.
Think about kids' cartoons. All kids' cartoons are full of nothing but adult references. It's what it is. It's full of adult references all the time. Like, me and my wee brother were talking about one as well. It was something happened in that SpongeBob SquarePants, and it was all about a lassie turned round. What was I? Squidward shouted, he's been deceiving you," and the lassie turned around and slapped her boyfriend and goes, "I knew it," slapped the boyfriend and walked away. Like I spoke to this about my wee brother. It's like you don't get the adult joke behind that. You just see it as, oh, somebody's got hurt.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Like you'll find that though that the example is you don't see that until you look through it though with like a specific lens to then understand. Like
Yeah.
when it first came out, people wouldn't have looked at it originally and thought, "Oh, that's a drug reference."
No, not at all.
But it's more just a case of like it's probably been as society's been more cynical as times went on that it becomes this kind of
Yeah.
like darker
I'll
view on
agree.
everything.
I would agree with Vox here again. Like, if you look at everything that nowadays, it's all super kid friendly. There's no adult humor. There's no nothing like that. It's all super kid friendly stuff. Like, sakes, man. I remember one of the things that was like my dad used to love watching a cartoon with me. I can't remember the name of the cartoon now, and it will bug me for a wee while. But he liked it because of all the adult references and how, if you want, how sneaky they were into it.
It may
But
have been
for
something
me,
on like Nickelodeon at the time because they
I
were
think it was
the
something on
best for it.
Nickelodeon. I think it was
Um,
something on Nickelodeon. Like I say though, like the way you have to look at it as well as with Nintendo is they try to put a kid friendly image, but as I say, if you go down that kind of route and everything, start looking at every cartoon that, like, for example, I grew up with. All right, you grew up with. Gives me you're the exact same age.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how old Vox
Fox
is, but
is 3 years older than us,
well,
so he's in the
there
kind
we
of
go.
same
He's
age
still kind of
category.
he's
Um,
still a '90s kid.
yeah,
Regardless, he's still a '90s kid. Think
exactly.
about all the cartoons we grew up with. Tom and Jerry used to throw TNT, fireworks, dynamite, hit each other with pans, stuff like that.
Yeah, like
Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes used to watch Daffy Duck getting shot in the face every single day with Looney Tunes.
whereas now you don't get anything like that. So yeah, it's quite
You'd be lucky enough. Like the one thing I used to love with Looney Tunes was the whole mallet act. You know, when used to one of them got hit with a mallet, and suddenly their face is flat and all their teeth used to pop out.
oh,
That's one
I
of the best things ever. And
piano teeth.
nowadays, what do you see? They get a wee tap in the head, a wee lump appears, and then they just start seeing stars. It's like, no, that isn't cartoon violence.
Yeah, I mean,
That's no cartoon violence.
we still get bits of that as well. To be fair, like
Have you seen any of the new Looney Tunes?
oh no, I don't. I've not watched
It is super kid friendly.
like the
It's
closest
super.
thing I've watched to cartoons and not cartoons is anime. Like that's the
Aye,
closest I've
that's
got
no
in
cartoon.
years. I know, but that's what I'm
That's
saying
no
is
cartoons.
I think
Like
I no, I'm not. The closest thing I watched was from my childhood is I rewatched old Dragon Ball Z. Like that's that, and it's an anime, but it's like
Eh, I'll even put it this way. As you know, I absolutely love Dragon Ball Z. As you know,
yeah,
all right. One thing I did there, I watched the old stuff that they used to put in Cartoon Network compared to the way the anime should be. And to help with that again, it is so super kid friendly. Like the violence with the punches and everything might have still been there, but when they were getting punched in the gut, they were bringing out spit and saliva. Then in the anime version, like the proper version, you're hitting man, they've got internal bleeding and stuff
I
like that.
blood and stuff, and
Aye.
I don't actually I never watched Avatar, but Vox is saying Avatar did a good kind of
Yeah,
balance
they did.
between the two. But I couldn't.
I'm going to be completely honest with him. He is true. Like my wee lassie right now absolutely loves watching the Avatar. If it's the Avatar one I'm thinking about, like, is it the last Airbender one, the one that was
That's
on Nickelodeon Vox?
that's the one. Sure, it'll be.
Well, my wee lassie's loving watching that the new on Netflix, and even I'm picking up more in the adult jokes than anything. And I'm sitting there and going, this is the way it should be. I shouldn't be trying to shield this person.
Yeah,
This little person is going to see worse in the next 10-year time, for example.
yeah.
They're going to see worse than what this can show.
Yeah, but that's
And
the
come
thing
on,
as
think
well
about it.
is it's maybe not with like relate this back though is like it was like an OnlyFans creator, maybe not the right person for Nintendo, but as long as it's
Well,
kept as a
again,
separate because it's seen as like a kind of
it's a side business.
yeah, but as well as that, these people like they have to have other outlets and stuff like that. It's not always what people expect, but the like it's not just kids should be supervised, for example, when they're watching this content. It should be going through the parents before it goes through, like, obviously, parental advisory and stuff like that. And it's
Oh,
more just a
that's what you
case
get
of,
the ratings.
yeah, it's a kind of way of kind of it being policed to an extent.
Yeah, yeah, I'll put it forward this way, okay? I remember I managed to watch Cartoon Network USA, so the USA Network, Cartoon Network.
Yeah,
What do I know what cartoon they were showing in the USA on Cartoon Network? I remember Cartoon Network's for kids. I remember catching on to that, and the show that I got onto it was Rick and Morty, showing it on Cartoon Network.
is it is it not Adult Swim? Or is it not
It
like
was the
is it?
adult
Is
one.
it but
It
it's the
was
Adult Swim hour, so it's like it's late night cartoon. Is it cartoons? Is it not?
well, I'm catching this at 10 o'clock our time, so they're 6 hours behind us.
Oh, I so maybe I yeah
So you're still looking at 4 5 o'clock, 4 5 o'clock over there.
aye
Depending how far back you go. Like if you go right over to the west coast, you're 8 to 10 hours, depending whereabouts you're.
yeah No, that makes sense. That makes sense. So there's obviously slight differences there between.
It's it's honestly like as I say, you can understand exactly where Nintendo are coming from because the biggest fighting game Nintendo sell. Because I'm just going to keep using the fighting game reference here because that's where most of the
That's what
violence
you
is.
know why.
Well, it's not even what I know; it's where most of the violence is in a game, and that. But think about it: their biggest game is Smash Bros. And what happens in Smash Bros? You don't KO the person; you knock them off the you knock them out the
So
arena.
you don't see the end result, kind of thing.
Nah, you don't see stuff like that. And even on top of that, like some of the other games have started bringing in, like Fire Emblem is us hand to hand combat fighting with sword. Again, no blood. Every time you hit, you just get a wee marker above their head telling you how much health they've lost.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this though is like a case of um like Fire Emblem is a talking about this way, but it's almost like an anime game where you collect like in
Yeah,
romance different like female
yeah,
characters or male characters to be fair.
yeah,
So it's not necessarily a kind of kid friendly game. Uh, in that sense, it's more a kind of teen and older. Like I don't know what I think it's like 12 and above. But
I'll search it up right now. I'll see how old that's for.
aye, that's fair. That's fair. But like your other thing is as well is that you can't have one rule one and one rule for the other.
Yeah,
There should there
the
should be
Fire Emblem and rules that they say is they want it to be 10 and above. So
aye,
10 and above for the Fire Emblem.
but there should be like see before people start streaming that like, content or whatever,
Yeah,
or even before like each games company should have a specific like maybe it should be something that comes in time, specific rule sets. So like a case of self-policing before then the company kind of strikes down on people. So, for example,
yeah,
for Paradox games, anyone can stream it over 18 or whatever it would be because it's historical. Like you just have to make sure that you're not showing kind of like like a support of kind of the kind of more serious ideals, which some
yeah.
people in the community have done at times. Um,
It's
but it's like a case
it's
of like whereas
honestly
Nintendo, like you have if you're playing Nintendo and you have some sort of thing outside of it that could be classed as mature work, then you have to maybe class yourself as a mature streamer, so kids can't
yeah,
then that kind of thing because Twitch
yeah.
does have that in place, so it's not as if
Oh yeah, I'll get I put the mature age thing on when I'm playing with certain games. If I was playing the Ice Toon or stuff like that,
yeah
it's open to anybody. But if I'm in, for example, if I'm in and I'm playing fighting games and stuff, yes, I'm going to put forward. I'm going to be sitting there. I'm going to be swearing. You're going to see blood. You're going to see stuff like that.
yeah.
But when I'm playing kid friendly games, shall we say, my swearing becomes almost next to nothing or bare minimum at the best of my ability,
I tend
and it's
to
just
do something similar, but I've stopped streaming with the age gating on, mainly because
yeah.
I stream past 8 p.m. most nights, and the
Hmm.
only time I swear is I've got the redemption for swear more now,
Yeah.
and it tends to be it's after 10 p.m. that I'll properly start to swear because I'm tired and I'm like grump mode on. Just here we go, boys. Time for some serious language. Like I've actually became like you
Sitting
said
there.
to me as well that my I've actually got a lot better with my
Yeah.
language. To be fair, I've
You know,
became
see, like anybody who streams for Nintendo, I think they just need to turn around and put one of these buttons on their thing. You know, every time they want swear, it just every time it pops out, it just goes.
you and your Stream Deck. You're prepared for it though. You know
It
that it's
works
there. I know it does work. It does
exactly.
help. But
Exactly. I've got everything there. I've got stuff there for fun. I've got stuff there for everything. You know, it's six. You know with yourself, man. The I am not the best thing in the world, and you know, I'll put it forward this way, and recently agreement. You know, I am a saint. You know, I don't swear. I'm not doing this. I don't swear for anybody. You know.
yeah,
Why the fuck you lying?
I know you're well prepared for it because they know.
Exactly.
But like
At the end of the day, for me with this, right, when it comes to Nintendo, Nintendo want to put forward a kid-friendly image. That's the way that Nintendo are. But again, start looking back in games that Nintendo have released through the years. Like, the perfect example for it is one of the very first ever games Nintendo decided to release to a console was Killer Instinct. What is Killer Instinct? A very violent bloody fighting game. Blood,
Yeah.
guts, gore, oil, everything. And then they want to try to portray this kid-friendly image. Like, yeah, fair play, fair play. If you want for an OnlyFans, this could be an OnlyFans in the, if you want the adult industry, the adult nature of the industry.
Yeah.
But
I get you.
if they don't want that, then yes, I can completely agree with that. But if they're just doing this because they're trying to put forward as we have a kid-friendly image, it's really, they really basically have to have a good look at themselves in the mirror, because you just have to look back in everything that they've ever brought out. Nintendo 64, they had Star Wars out in it. You were blowing things up, so you had proper explosions.
Yeah. Yeah.
The SNES had blinking Killer Instinct. That's when its first appearance came, was on the SNES, was Killer Instinct. Stuff
Yeah.
like that. It's one of those weird ones. They can't expect you to turn around and play the likes of Donkey Kong, where you collect bananas and stuff like that. Then you attack an enemy and the enemy just flies away. It's like, nah. Video games for this nowadays have evolved majorly. Like, good on them. I'll admit one thing with Nintendo, good on them if they want to try to keep a kid-friendly image, but they can't be hypocritical about it if you want.
Yes, that's the way they should. I think once a streamer hits a certain size, that's where Nintendo then have a more of a vested interest and should
Yeah.
say, look, can you age gate your content, or can you make sure that it's not quite public? They can't really tell people what to do in that sense, but they have a they're in the sense they're right. They have a responsibility to specific fans, obviously younger fans,
Yeah.
to then kind of offer some sort of protection for them. But in a sense that it should also be dealt with by like for the fans themselves. The parents should be dealing with that up till they hit the age of like 14 or whatever it is that you're meant to be able to, or is it 16 to be whatever age it is to watch stuff on Twitch and streaming services. YouTube's got the age gating at 13, I think it is. So
Yeah.
with that, it should be managed by
That's the thing as well, though. See, when it comes to YouTube, the age gate for YouTube is only for streaming. For videos, there's no age gap. There's no age group at all. You can post a video on YouTube at any age.
But is it not necessarily posting the video? No, it's more the fact that
The streaming side of it
is you can like age gate the content that kids watch.
Yeah,
so
you can do that.
So that's thing as parent, not our generation of parents will know. That's the thing, is our generation is in like you know what you're looking to do.
Yeah,
Not
I know what I'm looking into.
not your mum and dad wouldn't know. That's what I mean.
Yeah, my mom and dad don't have a clue, whereas me, I know exactly what I'm looking into and stuff.
Yeah, you can basically manage that in a way down the line when it's kind of required, because you're. Well, the thing is, I'm still saying this. You would still you're not actually classed as a young dad, believe it or not. Like you wouldn't be classed as a young dad.
I'm not a young dad.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Compared to the way kids are bottom out these days.
I'm not meaning that. I'm meaning like the fact is, my mum was 20. I know she was about the same age as you, to be fair, when I was born. But her friends were having kids at 22, 23, because that was the done thing. So
Mama and dad basically had me when they were 20 and 21.
I know what I'm saying. So that was kind of the age.
Yeah, but take it out, for example, Mama and dad had me when they were 20 and 21. And you've met my wee brother. My wee brother never came along until they were in their 30s.
Aye, but like, for example, back then, there was no. They didn't have to age gate anything. All it was no late night television, because that was the kind of only thing to really age gate was scary films.
I still remember the old Cartoon Network and the cable box, like your first cable box. Cartoon Network's finished at 10:30, I'm sure it was, and then you got TCM on, which was all the adult stuff that was coming on for it. Like, for example, I remember Monday, as soon as Cartoon Network was finished, you got WCW came on, so you got the late night wrestling, and then you started getting movies and stuff like that. I do remember stuff like that happening.
Aye, so there was stuff like that, but the way they age gated it was parents tended only to buy one box and it was in the main room. Like
Yeah.
there was no other. They didn't have to do much more than
Yeah.
that. Whereas technology's
It's,
got to the point where it's ahead in that sense.
technology nowadays, you're handing basically, if you want a 4-year-old a tablet nowadays and they know how to work it better than you do.
That's very true. I've had customers come in, and it's a case of they don't like they're on the phone. So for example, like a granny's on our phone and she's to check an email, and our 4-year-old or our 5-year-old grandson who can barely read knows what the email button is and knows roughly what to look for because it's got a logo,
Yeah.
and it's just you're sitting there like things have bloody damn changed. That it's
You know, I'll even give you a good one for that, for the times changing and stuff. I was in Smiths and we were getting some stuff for like my nephew's birthday and that.
yeah,
And
yeah.
this is one thing I distinctly remember. We're waiting in queue and we had grandparents behind us. Grandparents were talking to each other and then one of them tapped me on the shoulder. "Excuse me, son. Yeah, what's the matter? Look, one of my grandsons has asked for this switch. Could you tell me what one's best between the switch light and the switch? What one hooks to the telly? We're looking for decent games and stuff." And like I'm sitting there in the middle of Smiths. I don't even work there, and I'm talking to them about what switch is best. Uh, if you want this one, it's all handheld only. There's no connection to TV. Or you want this one just to connect to the TV. What's like the newest games that are out? It's good. And it goes. It depends what type of games you're into. Like if you're looking for a game that never ends and stuff, and they like building and that, try seeing about Minecraft. If you like
Yep.
a good story based one, my personal preference for a good story based one, get a Zelda game, but it's a wee bit more complex. So I would say get a Mario game because Mario is quite straightforward. It's a platformer.
Yeah, yeah. That's the thing is that I've had some similar where it's the technology gap for them. So like there's no like way of kind of try to catch them up. That's the issue. Is
Yeah.
it's very difficult to try and catch them up. So you're trying to explain it in layman's terms, and then you're like they're not understanding what this specific thing is used for. And they don't understand why people will play games.
Well,
That's just the
that was something that was actually quite like well spoken about. Nowadays, it's like got this back 20, 30 year ago. It was to kids. What do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a football player. I want to be a race car driver. I want to be this. I want to be that. You ask this kids nowadays, would you want to be? I want to be a professional YouTuber. I want to play Fortnite professionally. I want to be in a CS:GO team. I want to be in a Call of Duty team. It's like you'll think of it and you think to yourself like, wait a minute, what's happened in these generations? Like when I was a kid, I wanted to be outside. I wanted to come home with two skint knees, a broken jaw, blood gushing out my head,
aye,
freaking
but
5 broken fingers.
I mean,
Go
I
to the
think
hospital, quick bandage up and back out the next night.
I think the change there is like it's things have advanced so quickly, and a lot of stuff is viewing content, playing these games, blah blah blah. There's not as much time spent outside because there is that kind of bubble wrap and cotton wool, all that kind of thing generation where kids are not able to go out for as long, do as much, but as well as that.
Well,
And you'll know, I'll say this
it's
though,
again,
it's
mate.
there's less depending on where you live. There's less kids. That's the thing. So, for example, it's only been in the last 5 years that there's been a load of kids about the same age either move into the area, and that the only reason like with that is because they were we got I remember we got a letter around years ago saying about them about to cancel the specific bus for the school run.
Yeah.
So like a case of that, and it's only been the last maybe couple of years that you see them out kind of playing and stuff, and even at that, it's once in a blue moon. Whereas years ago we would be out and we'd be out playing for 4 and 5 hours, and you'd be playing football, blah blah blah, all this, all that. But it's kind of the generations changed. That
Yeah, the
they now
generation,
focus in
generational
on
gap's changed.
they now focus in on like kind of content, and they prefer to sit and watch stuff because that the thing is though, that's what's been used to bring them up is they sit and they're handed a phone or a tablet or YouTube stuck on, and it's because there's so much more for them to watch now. Whereas years ago, again, there was less to watch. Like you'd one or two kids shows or kids channels.
Yeah.
Whereas now there was don't know how many, I've lost track, but then you've got all your streaming services, you've
many.
got YouTube, you've got this, you've got that, and then you're left with that. Same with games companies. There's that many different games built for kids to kind of lure them in to play and spend time on and get hooked on a franchise. So the next Mario game, the next when we this that the first time that happened for us was Pokemon. I would say
Yeah.
that for me was Pokemon was my first one where I was like, I have to have the next game in the franchise itself. Because that's the thing when
I remember that.
but like again, that's the other reason I think with Nintendo is they still want to have that kind of relationship that people they build in with kids themselves, but they don't want it to then also have people with negative connotations that are playing the content or seem to be playing the content. So someone that could have a scandal,
Yeah.
for whatever reason, like some kids might not understand, but then again, it might be something that they do understand, and they then start to relate Nintendo with that. That's the reason why I think Nintendo have this kind of blanket ban on specific people. But also, they don't, again, as well with Nintendo, same with some other companies, they don't like people making money off their content. That's why they
No.
demonetize. See, it's like they have that kind of DMCA that, like, that musicians have been doing on Twitch. It's a case of, but
Yeah.
like you've got that kind of Creative Commons Act or reuse Act for games, but like Nintendo just seem to be able to get around it somehow, and I don't understand how it can be one rule for one and one rule for another. But again, it's all about it's it's all about not just having one rule for one and one rule for another. I think it's about having a kind of set of rules in place for you to then say, right, do I hit all these? Do I need to hit all these? Right, okay, I do or I don't. And what will I change so I can become this affiliated Nintendo streamer because I've hit a certain size, or does it not matter to me and I'll just play other games? That would be the
Yeah.
case because I don't know. I think this lassie was predominantly a Nintendo streamer until it kind of
Yeah.
came out of nowhere and caught her, caught her
In
out.
the arse.
Yeah, basically.
Better than there. But the thing as well is, the one thing I like to know about this is like she could be doing this plus a side business and stuff. Okay.
Yep.
Think about how much Nintendo, like Nintendo community managers and execs or whatever, has had to dig into this lassie's life to find this out.
Well, I think a lot of people tend to have that quite open because it is a source, it's a serious source of income for them. That's
Yeah,
it. So
but
like,
the thing is as well, like, see, I know a lot of streamers I know a lot of people who do streaming and that as well, but they keep streaming and OnlyFans to do two different things.
yeah,
They're streaming under a banner, for example, go for streaming under the banner as in I'll go with Gizzy the Gremlin, that's my stream side, and then I'll use my real name for the OnlyFans or my first name for the OnlyFans type thing. So I'm two separate entities.
yeah. I mean
So
that
think
makes
about
sense.
how
Actually, it's having the separate entities would work, I guess. But then again, if it gets linked together, that's when Nintendo would come down. Now, I don't I don't claim to know. What I would love to know is Nintendo's kind of reasoning for doing this for certain people, and why it is.
yeah,
We've kind of just been able to speculate, which I think our speculation is fairly right. It's not as if
yeah.
we do reasonably know our stuff on these things.
Well,
But
we don't exactly come in here. We don't. To be honest, let's be honest. We don't come in here half-assed with anything. Like
yeah, we've
for
done.
a lot of people who are in either of our chats right now. Like before we ever hit a live button, we don't come in here with, all right, this is a subject. Let's bitch about it. This is a 2 week build up in the making. What happens is if we don't have a guest, we end up battering things back and forth to each other,
Yep.
and we finally decide on topics. And then after that, it's going into the research of set topics to, okay, how are these topics going to work? How are we going to get these bouncing back and forth? And usually, what happens on top of that is we go live roughly about 8 o'clock. We're usually on the PC with each other from 7 to 8, getting everything set up, everything ready to go, but as well as going through everything. So as we say, we're not exactly going to come here and badmouth anybody. We've done a good bit of research. We've done our homework. done, if you want, this, that, the next thing, and we're not going to sit here and pretend to know. Like, I'm not going to sit here right now and just call Nintendo out as, no, they're a bad developer, they're a bad creator. Right? I'm a Nintendo boy. I've grew up on Nintendo.
Yeah.
So for the things like this, you can understand Nintendo's point of view, but at the same time,
You have to sympathise with the creator.
Yeah, people like us as well. Like creators, for example, are the people who make things bigger. Like as much as you can turn around, as much as they can turn around and go that, yes, we've released this game and we've released that game. This game and that game has done so well with so many hundred sales and everything like that. Think about almost every single game nowadays. Every single game is basically streamed. A lot of people stream every single game, and it's to the point of, it's literally to that point of, okay, this, that, the next thing, absolutely brilliant. Oh, but by the way, you done bad. And I'll keep going back to an FGC point of this. For it, take Marvel versus Capcom Infinite. That was renownedly hated by the FGC, and because of that, the game sucked. The game did so bad.
Yeah.
It literally just fell apart. And it's one of those ones like, what can you do about it? Like, they could sit there and moan, groan, or whatever, but there's nothing they can do about it. It's to that point of, okay, if you want, okay, we fucked up.
Yeah.
It's just that way of doing it. It's, to me personally, your companies and your developers, the likes of the Nintendo, Xbox, Sony, you name it. Personally, to me, I feel as if they need to put a little bit more support into the creators. Like, I'm not saying, I'm not turning around right now and going like this to Windows or whoever, pay me loads of money because I play your product. No, I'm not saying stuff
that's
like
fair. No, it's a case of maybe having something in place for them to understand, right? They're not going to come after me because I'm doing this right for myself and for them. They're going to come after me if I do something like, for example, like the backlash when PewDiePie said the N word and other things. That same with, like, for example, Keemstar, who had his Warzone whatever tournament at the time. When they've had their issues, companies have basically threw them under the bus. Fair enough, they've been quite offensive with the things that they've done, and that's an extreme measure for people.
Sorry,
like,
lost my ball, Loma.
No, you're fine. When people, for example, say for example, I use the C word quite a lot.
We're Scottish, we all use it.
Yeah, but for example, I say the word cunt. Excuse the language for the people in the chat, but hey ho. And when I use that, if, for example, a creator or a games company see me playing a game and I was shouting and swearing and saying that word, and then they decided to take down have a whatever against my Twitch channel to stop me from playing it, then right.
One of the things as well, mate, that I will point forward, and I kind of did find this out. See using the word cunt, like, excuse the language again. See if you're pushing for partner, that's one word that can stop. That could be the difference between a partnership to not a partnership.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people who use that word, and I know two people that are pushed for a partnership. Both of them applied, and both of them got knocked back for that reason. Excessive language.
Yeah.
You go back and listen to all the VODs. That's all they're using.
The thing is, though, they've maybe only used it like once or something, or twice or 3 times over the course of that period of time. But that's them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know it's one of those things. Is different rules for different people, and a lot of people
different rules for one, different rules for the other.
Aye, and there should be obviously excessive language. So it should be specified as excessive language, swear words, or is it offensive language? That kind of thing. Obviously, offensive language is a definite no. But
yeah,
if you're just saying that as an exclamation and it's not directed at someone, like, that's the thing is that, like, because when you, for example, for us streaming, it's part of our dialect in a sense. Is a case of we are same as Australians, for example. Like, that C word is almost a term of endearment to some of them. It's like how they greet their friends. I mean, one of the guys from Liquid's community, Smasher, he's like, I think one of the first streams I was speaking to him, that was one of the things is we were talking about. But I think what kind of going on is games companies have a games companies have a specific amount of power, but then when it comes to the actual console makers,
Yeah.
and they have more power again when they own these companies. For example, um with Xbox, Microsoft taking ownership of. Now, I always get this wrong because there's different subsidiaries amongst it. But basically, they now own the IP that is Oblivion, um,
Yeah.
Oblivion,
I remember you
and
sending me that link and stuff like
Fallout
that.
and things like that. Um,
Yeah, I had a really good like look at that link and everything like that. Like one of the ones that kind of stuck out for me was now that they own the Doom thing as well, and it's like, could we be seeing the Halo guy in Doom or the Doom guy in Halo, stuff like that.
yeah,
I've seen
but
like
it's like a kind of
everything like that.
cross-platform fighting game was a kind of a joking thing, and I've just
Yeah,
been asked if I can put my leg behind my head. I can't. Apologies.
I will pay you to try.
How much? How much, mate? Because I'll fucking give it a go if the money's good enough.
Three
Uh,
chickens.
3 chickens, aye, alright. Fucking farmer Gizzy over here. But like,
Excuse me, that's how they used to barter back in the day. I'll give you 2 chickens for that.
just if they're pre-cooked, if they're roast chickens, I'll do that. But my thing is as well though is like if for example Xbox now or Microsoft now own like the IP that is, I think it's ZeniMax. I think ZeniMax is the kind of broad one that
Yeah,
basically owns everything, or is it Obsidian or whatever it is. And like
yeah.
if because they own this company now, they like the thing is the thought is that either Sony's not going to get it for the PlayStation, or they're going to get it so late that it basically for certain like creator like for certain gamers they're either going to make the choice to go for Xbox, or for me who's not going to probably buy a console this generation unless something
And I
happens.
was like, when it came to it, I was tempted to buy the mini fridge. I'll be honest, I was tempted to buy
The
the
mini
mini
fridge,
fridge. I was. Have you seen the two new consoles? Think about it.
I know.
Xbox looks like a mini fridge. PS5 looks like a bloody internet modem.
I know. I've seen the router. I didn't see the one that I didn't really look at Xbox. To be fair, I looked at the specs, and I'm like, yeah, they look alright, but
Xbox is a square version of that. Basically, just a big square looking like that.
fair enough.
It looks like a mini fridge.
Fair dues. No,
So that was my temptation was getting that, but I was only buying that for one reason, and that was Halo Infinite. But now that I've been on Steam, Halo Infinite's getting released on Steam.
Yep.
So there's no point in me anymore.
yeah,
So it's like, all right, then I no longer need to go out there. Why should I, like, I'm sorry to say for console players and anything like that, but why should I restrict myself to 60 frames when I can get right up to 144?
exactly. My other thought here as well is that like with like the games themselves, can actually get a better selection as well.
Yeah,
And for example, for Microsoft games at least, you'll be able to get them through Game Pass, which you can get on the PC
yeah.
now.
You can get the stuff through the Game Pass.
And I
On
would
top of
say,
that, you have the Microsoft Store.
yeah, and about 90%, or sorry, the Microsoft Store, sorry, and 90% of games on PlayStation.
Even you're saying that, mate. Even you're saying that with the Game Pass, you can actually buy the Microsoft Game Pass on the Microsoft Store for your PC. So
And also
everything that Xbox gets, you're getting it.
I know, but like those like monthly free games. I mean, you get the Game
Yeah,
Pass.
you
Will,
still get them.
yeah, you get
You
all
still
that.
get them.
So like,
Well,
but
that's what I've got. That's what I've got Killer Instinct on. My Killer Instinct's through the Microsoft Store.
yeah. Oh no, actually, I remember. I remember you saying that. To be fair, but like, I would say, for example, these the biggest issue here is um, what precedent does this set? Is it because I always bring it back to what does it mean for a marketplace? So a like obviously my background, blah blah blah. Um, where does this stand, and what happens if basically it
See,
becomes like an arms race to who can buy or who can partner with these companies in a way that then stops people from being
you
able
know,
to
we'll
do
put it
these
forward.
things.
We'll put it forward to a simpler term, mate. In your opinion, should there be a split?
I think every games console should get their own games unless Sony develop their own and Microsoft develop their own. I think I think it should just be a case of everybody, like, unless for whatever reason the supplier just
Like,
decides to themselves that
yeah,
we're not making it for. So, for example, see, because less Xboxes sold, like for the previous generation, you might
yeah,
find that people were just going to supply to Sony players because there's obviously there's more of them, and it means that they're only printing one, or they're only creating a downloadable version for one console, and they're still going to make a reasonable profit. Whereas your next argument there is there's still, say, 50 million Xbox users. Why would they not go for that market? Like,
yeah.
that's your thing there.
To me, I've always said that if you want version exclusives, I can agree with that. Like, Sony for me focus more on the single player aspect of a version exclusive, God of War, Spider-Man game, stuff like that, which
Aye,
I absolutely love. I love the single player aspect of that.
yeah,
But at the same time, I believe personally you should not have that split. Like, I don't like that split because that's when you start getting the arguments of Xbox is better, PlayStation's better. No, this is better, that's better, this is better, that's better. It's a never ending argument. Like,
yeah. And I mean, like, so for talking sake, I had both the PS2 and the original Xbox, and
original Xbox or 360.
the original Xbox. So, like,
So the brick.
the
The
brick,
brick.
the monster, the one that you could swing the controller about on the wire and kill
Yeah, the
someone
thing
with.
with the control bloody that thick or something.
I was like that size, like you're like that. But like I remember that, for example, there was a lot of games actually for me, like, ran better on the Xbox, but I love
Yeah.
Time Splitters on the PlayStation, and like
Yeah.
I didn't
The
have
one
like
game
a set
the one
thing
game I
for
used
it.
to love in the PlayStation. The one game I used to love in the PlayStation was Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
I'm sorry I interrupt you. I wanted to get out there. You just said you
no,
talk about
it's
time splitters and stuff.
no, I think I played Dino Crisis 3. Because I remember, was that not also in the arcades?
Yep.
Yep, that's fine. Because that was my game in the arcades. To be fair,
In the arcades, you weren't sitting there with a controller. You were sitting there with the actual gun.
I know, that's why I remember it.
The one thing I remember about the arcade version was when you chose your weapons, you could choose a crossbow. Remember playing with my wee brother. Me and him were sitting there with these two shotguns, him with an actual shotgun, me shooting crossbows.
Oh man, I think they still have. I'm just off topic here. I think they still have Dino Crisis C at the Hollywood Bowl, just up from me.
They
Like,
do.
yeah,
They do.
yeah,
That's one thing as well. Like that hurts me. Like for a lot of people, if you want to know, that hurts me. My gaming background comes from the arcades. I
yeah.
started off with Street Fighter 2 in an arcade unit, and that hurts me now because now you don't get games like that in the arcades anymore. You
You don't.
think about it,
I
and you
think.
used to have what
Uh,
was it? You used to have the House of Horror. Remember the zombie game?
oh no, House of Dead.
Horror, I think it was
It was,
called.
it was House of Dead.
House of the Dead. That was it.
Like,
House
but
of Dead used to have that.
like they don't
Time
do.
Crisis.
They don't do. Oh no, they did one of the new Tekkens
Excuse me.
as a. They did one of the new Tekkens as an arcade. No, it was like, but I say new. I think it was like 6 or 7 years ago, man. Like,
Yeah, so that would have probably been about, say, roughly Tekken 4, maybe 5.
could have been, but that was that. Like, it was like that would be
Well, think
classed
about
as
it.
new. I mean, I don't think they make games for arcades anymore, apart from like wee kind of gimmicky things now. Like, I don't.
No, like Japan,
Yeah,
Korea, stuff like that, they still get their arcade stuff.
yeah, but
It's
that's
just for some
because
reason
there's still
this
that
country,
social aspect in an
yeah.
arcade.
But in this day and age for us, I'd, we'd all rather sit in our house and play games that way. That's the way we'd all do it. Sit in the house and play games that way. Whereas back when I first started playing, as I said, I used to love going down to the arcades, and it's our arcade. It's M&D's, if you remember that. Anyway, it's
Yep.
M&D's we used to go to back when it was known as Strathie.
Aye, Strathy. Aye.
Used to be going down there, and that used to be me every Saturday. I would go down there. My cousin, I say my wee cousin, he was my big cousin, but I was always the big guy. He used to
Aye.
be running about the play. He used to run about token machines, bloody skee ball, basketball machines, stuff like that. I used to spend hours upon hours in the arcade block section of it. I would play like a Street Fighter. I'm pretty sure there was a Tekken game down there, but I was never good at Tekken, so I stuck with Street Fighter.
Yeah.
I did play the original Killer Instinct. I remember they had that block for a couple of months. I did play the original Killer Instinct, and then I had the likes of the drag racing games and stuff like that. We used to have the steering wheel and everything. That's where to me, that's where the gaming should always have came from. Having that arcade culture feel to it is
Yeah.
amazing. Like, granted, you have to move on with the times, but the arcade feeling,
Aye.
everything is exactly where it needs to be.
Aye. And I think like with that's what a lot of people did enjoy at the time.
Yeah,
It's maybe lost that edge that it used to have, but
yeah,
like it's differences with kind of generations, as we kind of said at the start for these things. Like but like on the kind of back on the with like for example the companies themselves and their exclusives.
yeah,
Again, it's precedence. Like I don't well I don't get why. Obviously, it's money to these different companies, and obviously, well, like for example, Epic and the
yeah,
released Total War Troy saga. Like I
yeah.
understand that was a big move for Epic. They got Creative Assembly got a lot of money for a game that probably would have sold more. Um, like it made more
Part of
money
the game.
than the yeah made more money anyway. It's going to come to Steam anyway, and I think people will still buy it on Steam.
Well, think about it that way as well, mate. Like, you're talking about the way that is. Take Epic for example again. They bought the rights to, if I'm not right about this, they did buy the rights to have Rocket League onto their store.
Yeah,
And think about the first thing that they did was they released it as a free download for a limited time. And if you downloaded Rocket League for the limited time,
you got a £10
you
voucher.
could £10 voucher, but on top of that again, you could get the Fortnite bus as part of it.
Aye.
It was a special promotion from Epic.
That's just, I mean, that's the way kind of things are. It's more just like, for example, people have a bad taste in their mouth with Epic from kind of years ago because I can't remember what it was with the store, but was it had to have an always on feature and you always had to be connected or
Yeah, something along that line.
yeah.
Something
Same
along that
with
line.
same with EA Origin. To be fair, as well, you always
I
had to.
hate. Do you know? I'm going to really, really say this. I hate EA. The developer of EA. I don't care who you are. If I ever meet this guy, I will not shake his hand. I would rather slap him in the face and spend the night in jail for doing it.
Fair
I do
enough, man.
not like EA. Mate, what annoys me about it is I absolutely hate EA,
Yeah.
but I love Apex Legends.
Aye, that's fair, man. Is you have to. It's not stopping you playing a game that you like. That's the main thing.
I don't know what it is about EA. I don't like the presidency. I don't like everything about them. And the one thing that used to annoy me and what kind of like, if you want, the straw that broke the camel's back with them was with FIFA. I remember playing FIFA. I remember I was really, really good at FIFA at one point.
Yep.
Used to play the Ultimate Team. I remember I grinded that game out so hard that I could get this full gold Ultimate Team. I fielded it against a guy who was basically half bronze, half silver with a couple of gold players. And the guy literally just played ultra defensive the full game and scored right in the 93rd minute.
Sweaty
And that,
goals. I remember
it
this.
wasn't even it wasn't even a sweaty goal, mate. It wasn't one of those ones where he ran up, passed back, and scored. He took a flying chance. It was literally like, I think it was a corner. It got crossed into me. I won the header away and everything, and the guy must have volleyed it for about 40 yards or something. My keeper was right there. He put his arms up. Half the keeper saw his bounce there and went in the net, and I'm like that. What the fuck? My keeper's
Yeah.
got a 93 shot stopping rating. Your striker had the guy who cut the shot, and I'm even lying, 68 shot. He was a defender with a 68 shot.
Aye.
He beat my keeper.
Like I was watching somebody who's basically playing FIFA. I don't play it anymore. I've not played it for like 3 years, I think. And
You know, played it for 3 years. I've not played this since FIFA 10.
no,
That's how long ago it was when I played on my last
I
FIFA.
played one of the ones. I think it was before they had the kind of cinematic story mode.
Yeah.
I was watching somebody play it, and they were good at the game, but it's all about if you don't have the money to invest to basically buy your dream team,
Yeah, the
you
microtransactions.
you basically build a team that's built around speed, and it's just a speed,
Yeah.
a bit of passing, and then a striker that can finish, and that's it. is all you need is because all it is basically just sweaty. That's why I says was that a sweaty goal because 9 times out of 10 that's what it comes down to now.
It usually fell down to that.
Um,
But that was the one thing that used to irritate me where when it came to EA. Yeah, when I was playing with my pals and everything, we used to call it the EA curse. The EA curse was literally it was EA curse and EA law. If you have not scored at all in the 90th minute, and when it comes to the 90th minute, it was actually the way it worked out was it was the 45th and the 90th. As soon as
Yeah.
it passed the marks, well, we'll go for this way for the 42nd and go for the 42nd and the 88th minute, okay?
yeah,
For that point until it passes that mark, you could score a wonder goal for anywhere on that pitch. If you had a good shot and it
that
was
was
perfectly hit, it was a wonder goal. And regardless of who it was, I mean, you could have took the shot with Zinedine Zidane, who was known for wonder goals, or you could take the shot with fucking Joe Blogs down the street, basically, man, who's never kicked a ball in his life. But if he caught that sweetly, it was a goal.
I remember because I think there's compilations and stuff like that. It's like world goals from the fucking halfway line, and I remember going back. This must have been FIFA 2003, 4 or something mental. Like I think it was when Rob Douglas played for Scotland, and I remember playing Brazil, and I remember doing
Aye.
doing a run with Rob Douglas and scoring for the halfway line, and I just remember looking at this as if to say, "What the fuck is going on here, man?" Because just how mental the game was. Because
Sitting there like that, sitting there like this with your control, sitting like this with your control and everything. Suddenly somebody scored a wonder goal and you've just went,
aye, that's it. I remember like watching compilations of just like, for example, goals from nothing, and it's like, and then you've got all obviously the sweaty goals compilations as well, and you're
Yeah.
like, it's the same. It's just they don't really do much to FIFA. To be fair, each year it is basically just a reskin, which
It's a
it makes
reskin,
millions. Folk refuse to buy
Yeah.
it and then buy it because they want the new FIFA and they want to play
Well,
pro
think about
clubs with their friends.
think about it's the same kind of aspect that Call of Duty has.
Yeah,
Call of Duty, you could turn around right now. I fucking hate that game. I'm never buying it, but you're going to buy it. I've already turned around and said that this year I'm not buying Cold War, but I'm going to buy it to play zombies. I already know what's coming.
yeah.
I might not get it. I might not get it in its release date, but I could put it right now. I'll have it either before or after Christmas, just to play zombies.
I am the same. To be fair, I think I'll probably end up playing some more multiplayer, but not the equivalent of Warzone. I'm going to end up playing.
I will not play another battle royale game that comes after Call of Duty. The best one that they ever created for the feeling everything still Blackout for Black Ops 4. That was the best feeling, if you want, battle royale game that they created.
Like, I enjoy watching Warzone. I do enjoy watching it, and I don't actually mind playing it. And if I would have to spend a lot more time in multiplayer before I thought to myself, I'm good enough to play Warzone. But because I had
See, that's the thing as well. Like when it comes to that, multiplayer and Warzone are completely different again because multiplayer.
I know,
is
but
beaming.
I'm
That's what you
talking
do,
about
you beam.
I'm talking about my reaction
Yeah.
times. Like my reaction times are non-existent now for COD, in the sense that
That's because you're playing a controller.
shut up. But you know what I mean. Like, but the thing is, like even on multiplayer though, I could get a bit of time on it. Whereas Warzone,
Yeah.
you're going 10 minutes between kills, so you're not really
Yeah.
getting a chance to.
You know, I'll put one thing forward for you right now, and this came from Optic Hex or NRG Hex now, whatever it's known as. Just we'll call it Hex.
X. Aye.
The one thing that he popped out and said, and I remember seeing this on one of his podcasts. He was talking, or I think it was a podcast, either a podcast or a vlog. He was talking about PUBG, how he could not get into PUBG for one reason. You could drop into a map in PUBG, pick up your AK, get the sight, the stock, the barrel, the clip, whatever you needed, and then suddenly, boom, you're dead. You don't get time to use the gun. You don't get time to get used to it, learn its recoil pattern, learn the balance, or anything like that.
Yeah, and then that's you're left stuck, and that's the thing is that's why I'm saying if I could get like a few hours in normal multiplayer, and then I get a feel for like a couple of guns, and I'm thinking, alright, I know my recoil, I can handle this, blah blah blah. Like for example, I dropped in with one of my mates, picked up a sniper, and I thought, right, okay, it's not too bad. It's a bolt bolt actions 9 times out of 10 were 2 shots roughly, and that was a kill if you were hitting
Yeah.
centre of mass. By the time I'd lined up and hit with the third shot and the person was still standing, I was dead because they fucking beamed.
Yeah.
They beamed me with an assault rifle from like miles away, and I'm just like, well,
Yeah.
you know what? Fuck this. That was my
Yeah,
decision.
you just can't get the enjoyment. But that's another thing as well. If we were to go into companies and stuff like that, think
Yeah.
about the way that Call of Duty. Think about the way that Call of Duty is. Call of Duty, literally, like this Call of Duty for this year, they literally turned around and said that they're not caring about the competition side of the esports side, the one that all eyes go on.
Yeah.
They focused on Warzone.
Yeah. And the best thing is though,
They focused
Warzone
Battle Royale.
Wednesdays though, Warzone Wednesdays, like that was the esport for lockdown. That was
Oh
it.
yeah,
Like that was
they had
massive.
so many tournaments. They had so many tournaments for Warzone. Like take Vicstar. Vicstar, I don't know if he still holds it, but him and Team of Three had the kill record, and I think it was something like 100
They're the
kills or something.
yeah, they're like the. I think he took a break from it just because he burnt himself out on it.
It's one of those things though. Like to me personally, Call of Duty, competitive Call of Duty was always 4 against 4. That's the way it's always been for me. Then they started bringing the 5v5 rule, and the reason for the 5v5 rule was they wanted to compete with the likes of CS:GO, Valorant, Overwatch, all these ones that bring bigger teams
Yeah.
together. But it upset the balance. Like as much as you could try your best with it all, it really did upset the balance of the game.
Uh-huh.
Like for Overwatch is 6v6, and that works out because of the way they did it. They needed a meta play, and before that, like Overwatch done one thing. Overwatch brought in the 2v2v2 select,
Yeah.
which is 2 damage, 2 healers, 2 support, and 2 damage, 2 healers, and 2 tanks. Sorry, and the way that ended up being is they brought that in because people started running 3 tanks, 3 support, then they started running 4 4 damage with 1 healer, 1 tank and stuff like that. So it kind of upset the meta stuff. And
Right.
it wasn't until they brought Brigitte into Overwatch where the meta was completely upset because Brigitte had everything at the time. She was basically just a damage character, but
Right.
she was put into the healing section because she could give you armor, and then her ultimate basically could protect the full team for a certain length of time
Right.
or
So it
boost
could
the
do
full team. I couldn't
everything.
remember what it was.
Right.
So she was the trait of everything. She was the one who broke the meta in a sense. So that's when Blizzard basically had enough. Instead of trying to balance the characters, they turned around and went, "All right, then fuck yous. You can
Yeah.
only play 2 of each character now."
Because you've ruined the fun for everybody. Aye. Actually,
Basically.
that reminds me.
It's not even ruined the fun, mate. It's think about it. Take Call of Duty for example again. Call of Duty is a game built around 2 guns, 3 guns for when it came 5v5, and it was always the same. You had 2 ARs, 2 sub players, or 3 ARs, 1 sub player. That's the way it's always been. And then for the last couple of CODs, when it's been 5v5, you had the 1 AR, you had the fast firing AR, which was your sort of hybrid player, like your hybrid support player. It was they could shoot the long distance, but the gun was fast enough to be up close and personal. We are aggressive player, basically, who's
Right.
in your face all the time. That's the way Call of Duty ended up being.
This means nothing to me. Like honestly, I mean, I'm not. I last time I played in multiplayer, and it was the shit god was Advanced Warfare, and I only maybe clocked in 6
Well,
hours.
Well, there you go, mate. Advanced Warfare was built around the one that was basically like a Tommy gun. I think it was the A1 something,
Yeah,
A1M1, give or take.
I
And
think
the
so.
bow, and the
See,
bow.
I
That's what it was built around.
couldn't tell
And then
you.
all of a sudden, it just became the full game was about the bow. But I'm talking about competitive side. I'm not talking about your casual player. Like for me, I've always been a casual player when it's came to Call of Duty or when it's came to a game. I've always been a casual player.
Yeah,
Except Halo. Halo, I did take the competitive side quite seriously, but
I get you.
I'm the type of guy I want to go into a game and I want to use a gun because it's fun, it looks good, stuff like that. I don't want to jump into a game where everybody's meta in it, like that last Call of Duty 4 or Black Ops 4, I'll take for example, sorry. I didn't want to play that because it saw M1, M4A1s, and was it an M4A1? I can't even remember the name of the sub and everything, but the sub was like a mini Uzi looking thing, but it had a different name. The SOG, that was it.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the other gun was, but it was your faster fire rate.
Like
assault rifle.
I'm thinking it this way as well. So before they nerfed it in Modern Warfare 2, it was the UMP because you could literally beam with that, and then it was the dual shotguns that they nerfed because
The models.
because you could shoot halfway across the map with shotguns for whatever reason. And that was a kill.
See, that was it. Like, take Modern Warfare 2. Modern Warfare was built around the ACR, and it wasn't even just a UMP. It was the silenced UMP. The silenced UMP was the most deadliest thing you've ever used in your life.
Aye.
You smack on the models for that. It's models 1888s, man. You was either what is it, 1888s or 1887s? You're
Aye.
destroying.
Aye.
The one thing I remember about that was I used to run about that map with a P90 and the guns, and I don't think I used a P90 once.
Aye, because it was all your mod.
Yeah, the P90 was just there because I like the P90. That was
Yeah.
literally it. I didn't care about anything else. I liked the P90.
Oh, that's it, man. That was one of those things. That's just taking away some of the games went, and
it's developers again who have turned round. Like, I'll give some developers the benefit of the doubt because you think about it this way, it's like a team of them facing the backlash of millions and millions of people who bought
yeah,
their
they'll
game.
never please everybody. That's the thing.
They'll never please everybody. Like, I'm sorry to keep doing this, but I'll use Killer Instinct here.
It's alright.
I remember one complaint that was put forward. I'll just put it forward for this week. You're talking about devs versus players, if you want, or dev versus your community. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I remember an uproar it came from was Django's healing. Okay, as Django started like combo attacking you every now and then, he started
gain
healing,
health.
so,
yes, I remember you saying this actually. Yeah, because you spoke about this before.
So the uproar for them was you need to nerf the healing, not nerf the healing, nerf the healing. The developers done nothing. What they did was they studied the character for 4 months, and they found the root of the problem. The root of the problem wasn't the healing. The root of the problem was he had no bad matchups. He was strong at far. Well, I'll put it this way: he was strong at full screen and strong at close range. And his only weak point was in the middle, was mid screen. But because his move, which was the one kick, he could be in your face in a matter of seconds because it was +2 on block. So he had the frame advantage if you managed to block his win kick.
Oh, because I remember you breaking this down for me when you were explaining frames to me, and it kind of just, I mean, it's still
went out your head.
No, it makes sense, but it's like when you were saying about how like, characters have different matchups and range and stuff.
Yeah.
The thing is, they stuck with it in that sense. But like, what I'll say is with developers is the fact is what the the actual games companies is about to, and I think it's a good standpoint is crossplay. Now, like,
the crossplay. Even when we talk about crossplay, Apex Legends has literally got crossplay compatibility there in its last update.
Aye, that's what I'm saying. Is so it's finally getting there for some people. For example, it means that people on PC can play with their friends on console on certain things now, and it's not perfect, but it's getting there. And that's the thing is, and
it'll never be perfect.
No, because PC will still be better for certain games, and console will still be better for other games, and it'll never be a perfect match. Will it happen? Maybe where like maybe it's kind of cloud computing gets better. You'll get AI assistance that balances things out with timings and stuff.
See, this is the thing where you're going to go for again with it, but it's always going to be the old argument, and the old argument stands perfectly simple. You're on PC, you use one of these, as you know.
Yep.
Your aim's faster, everything flicks quicker, everything's good. But what's the one thing that this doesn't have?
The trigger feeling?
No. This here.
Oh, recoil.
This here is all human. This here is all human based, so you control everything. Where on one of these,
the aim assist. Yeah.
That's always going to be the old argument. Like with one of these, I've only ever noticed the aim assist on Apex Legends with one of these, but it wasn't strong. Like the biggest argument for aim assist wise is always going to go and fall to Fortnite. Fortnite aim assist was that bad. I mean, like literally, when you hit the controller in, it wasn't even the snap, mate. It was literally the person you could be shooting could be behind this wall, and because of aim assist, your aim's following them behind this wall to each side. You really didn't have to do much.
Yeah. Although you can change your aim assist and you can change aim assist in Warzone and a couple of the more recent CODs that allows you to literally increase it to a point. There's actually guides on it. I'm just grabbing a can of Pepsi Max now, but there's actually guides on it just now that then allow people to do, like, basically make themselves a better player because they can increase how responsive aim assist is.
As I said, as I've turned to me, I'll go for the argument case, okay? When it comes to the keyboard and mouse, okay, and I don't know like how most people play keyboard and mouse. Like I hold my mouse that way, so I aim with my ring finger, shoot with my index, and my middle finger does all my roll wheel and everything.
Yep.
So I'm using a lot more indexes plus my thumb button for the side buttons. Oh, can I see that? Sorry, side buttons there. So I'm using basically that full bit. That's all I'm using. That's what I use on my mouse. On top of that, my full hand uses all my keys. But when you use a controller, you're stuck basically. Like that's where you're stuck.
I don't hold my mouse the same way you do. I don't know.
Aye, but as I said, with a controller, you're stuck like that. Unless you're like me, like I learned how to play claw, which is that. So I can press all of that with my finger.
Aye, that's fair.
I learned that through playing Halo. No, I learned that through playing Halo. Fighting games I play like that.
Aye.
I actually play it like I'm playing in an arcade block.
No, that's fair. I didn't realise.
It rests on my leg. It literally rests on my leg, and I'm sitting there doing it like that.
I get you, man. I get you. But
that's, like my wee brother calls me weird for that because of all the different ways I can play a controller.
Aye, I'll only ever change it slightly, and it is more so with, like, for example, a fighting game. Even at that, I don't play enough that, like, a case of it makes a massive difference to me.
Well, as you know, mate, as well. Like, I've got 3 controllers sitting here. I've got the PlayStations, I've got Xbox, and of course I've got my fighting board.
Aye.
So I've got everything I need there for whatever game I decide to play. But with the majority of my games that I play, I use the arcade block. The only time I'd really use a controller is Mortal Kombat, and that's just because it feels a lot more comfortable with Mortal Kombat having the triggers up here to press instead of having to use all the way over here to press them.
Aye, no, that's it, man. I mean, like, for example, these are the things that it kind of separates different players and such. For a PC, but the thing is, for a PC, it means you're versatile because you can.
Because your dexterity is coming into it.
Aye, but as well as that is the fact that you can also choose what way to play that benefits you most. For example, people prefer mouse and keyboard. I prefer controller. Yeah. But for a fighting game, you'll fire in your fight board.
My fight stick, my arcade block. Like, me and you spoke about this as well, mate, because I even showed you me doing it. Was I can do fighting games on a keyboard.
You told me that how you had it set up as well. Your key presses in a certain way, and you know what, man, it's personal preference as well. So, for example, worst case scenario, you could always play on keyboard if that's what you would have preferred to do. Yeah,
it's one of those ones like it's, again, this is just falling under the whole thing. Like, I know for example, and since we're talking about the companies and everything, I know for this by example, I know hundreds of people that buy these, buy PlayStation.
Yeah.
It's okay. But every single one of them says the same thing. They hate these positions. They hate what these are.
Yeah.
They prefer these because it's easier to control that than it is for your fingers to go smack bang.
Yeah, because it's that kind of nice. It's that nice kind of split where you're holding it like so.
Yeah, well,
and it allows you to.
Well, you got your split basically. Okay, like I've got huge hands, so that doesn't bother me. Okay, I can literally, that's my hands touching side to side, and so that doesn't bother me. That, to me, this doesn't feel weird to me just because I'm used to stuff like this.
Yeah, it was
with this, it feels a lot more simpler.
I've still got the old Xbox 360 controller. I'm the same as I prefer that. That's why when I go back to Apex and things like that, I'm going to fire that in because to me,
see, the one thing as well, like, see, with controllers, like we're talking about that as well. And this is what I love about this podcast, by the way. This is supposed to be about gaming companies, and now we're talking about items for the gaming companies.
Aye, but
this is what I love about this podcast.
We're on a rant. Not quite, but you know what I mean.
This is what we want. Well, it technically is. The one thing I love about this, and we'll use Apex for example. Alright, I use the front triggers on this with Apex, so there's my aim, there's my fire. This controls my front face, as you know, but I play claw.
Yeah.
Okay, the one thing I love about this is I can basically turn this into a claw side as well, so I can use my middle finger to shoot where my D-pad is,
Yeah.
and then with my fingers free to use my D-pad if I need to heal, switch over items and stuff.
Right, got you.
Whereas on the Xbox controller, I don't have that same freedom because now I need to move my thumb, put into that, and it's harder to control that with an index finger.
Right, I've got you. Makes sense. That actually makes sense there, man.
Yeah. Or as for example, if I'm on my keyboard, I just press 4.
Aye. 6 and a half a dozen. But hey ho, man, it's just one of those things. I mean,
It is what it is.
It is what it is. I've started saying all these damn meme sayings that have kind of sprouted up.
Welcome to the gaming community.
I know. It's not that. It's the fact that I'm playing with folk that are.
Do you know, that's one thing I'm going to have to do one day. Like before we go any further, I need to sit down with this voice mod and I need to try to find the sexy voice, so I can put it up. And it just sounds all smooth and.
No, that you just take a step back for that mic there, William, because you're making the skin crawl on the back of my neck.
When it could be worse, I could snap my fingers and erase the world.
Any voice of that fucking voice mod makes my skin crawl because I know I know the sick pleasure you get out of that.
That's the.
It's
what it is.
It is what it is. You and your fucking. It's almost like your fucking sick kinks. But like.
Just think about it this way. Next time you make your message, you're going to just imagine me sitting there with the soft voice on, going, "That's it, doing it nice."
Just you with a soft voice. It is what it is. But like
What's the matter with you tonight? You should know on form. It is what it is.
Ugh, that's horrible. But no, we can try and move as swiftly back on to a kind of final point before we go. Before it gets any fucking weirder. Oh god. But like obviously kind of more on the topic of like, games companies and like.
Just remember, I'm in your head.
And that's about the echo that you would hear as well if you were in my head. But like, for example, games companies, like the rules that they have for people to have their content, but also like when you want to link up and work with a games company, for example, like if you want to then basically advertise for them if you get like a code for a new game, like that. Only some have, for example, your minimum requirements. And even then, they say it's a case-by-case basis. So, for example, 500 followers, a YouTube channel with a specific amount of subscribers, all those kind of things. Whereas
they're looking for basically, if you want, top line type thing. Whereas you meet this criteria, what they're giving you, or are you down here?
Aye, but that's the thing is only some have that, and then others have like it was called basically just look at it as a case-by-case basis. So like. New DLC obviously released this week for one of the main games I play, Hearts of Iron. I shoot my shot basically because I had seen smaller creators get it before. I've had a reasonable amount of growth the last 2 months, and I'm thinking to myself, I'll just throw that in there. That I've almost doubled in size over the last kind of 2 months. Just let it kind of throw that one in. Said no, which is fair enough. I says if you don't mind keeping me in mind, ask their kind of minimum requirements because it's not clear anywhere anymore. And they says it's a case by case basis. Channel with roughly 100 followers more than me had the DLC on launch date, and believe it or not, very similar viewing figures to my own. And I'm half the size. To be fair, sometimes they'll peak at 10, 11, but then again, so do I on certain games, certain nights. So I'm looking at it as if they say, why is that? And you do a wee bit of digging. And I don't know if this matters as much in your kind of community as well. But like for example,
On my community, unless you're a top player in the FGC, man, you're getting fuck off.
aye. So for example,
Unless you are named, you're getting fuck off.
I noticed that they
Unless you're under the table for the dev, you're getting fuck off.
I noticed that he plays with a specific other creator or fairly regularly. And
Unless you're with one of them, you're getting fuck all.
yeah, but like but the thing is, the other creators are a fairly sizable channel. The other ones on maybe only got 100 and a bit followers more, and you're
Yeah.
like, it's literally who you know and the kind of relationship you have.
It's
Whereas
the same as it's always been. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
But like, I would also kind of throw this back is the developers obviously don't. Case by case. So, for example, someone who's quite outspoken about these developers, Paradox, is Tommy K. He doesn't
Yeah, I know
get.
what you're talking about. I was in the stream that day when that one got out.
Yeah, I was.
That was the. I've got to put it forward, okay, and I will say this. And you know something? I know you're going to stream quite a lot, and you can even say it to him and say that I've said this. That was the single greatest stream I've ever watched. For the fact of somebody loving a game but ripping apart a dev at the same time.
Like, I don't agree with a lot of things he does, right? But that was see from a marketing standpoint, like honestly, and like I was a masterclass. He wiped out the viewership numbers on the Paradox channel and almost every other channel for the best part of the for the best part of like the first week of streams. So as soon as Tommy K went live, your viewing numbers were gone. Like like it was a case of that. It's when he peaked at, was it 13,000 or something mental. I remember sending you the numbers, and I predicted it. I says he's been off all week. He's been hinting at something big, and he created a full like cinematic intro. He streamed. He did all these different things. He's mental, but he does what he does, and he enjoys what he does. I can't really comment too much, but it was just one of those things that he created this near masterclass of marketing that allowed him to basically, like, I can't remember, was that, I don't think that, I think that's when he had his G Fuel sponsor, just that he had that ready for him, his G Fuel sponsorship. So a strategy game player has it with a G Fuel sponsorship. We're on that. Then obviously that peak of viewers, he got onto front page of Twitch, more or less all around the world as well. He was in front page of Twitch in Germany for the entirety of his stream, because of his contact that did all that for him. And you're there and you're looking at it as if to say, like, he's like he knew that as soon as his holiday was off, he knew that more people was going to be coming in to watch him because they missed his content and see what he was doing. New game, he timed everything so well. And the best part of it was he hadn't even downloaded the game. He hadn't even he waited until the game. He hadn't even got an early access copy or anything. He just literally bought the game on on stream and paid for it. Downloaded it because it was only a gig. Set it up then and there, and off he went. And you're looking at this as if to say, like, a lot of the kids that watch him, kids, I say that, but some of them are at similar ages to me. Well, I would assume
A whole lot of the young adults, young teenagers.
Yes, over 14 or whatever it is for Twitch. That watch Tommy K. And they, like, because of the memes and stuff that he does, it works for him. I don't agree with I don't agree with certain aspects of what he does, as I've said, but from a marketing standpoint, you have to like applaud the man in that sense. Is like you'll be good at. The thing is, as well, is he won't get anything from them because of how outspoken he is, and also the reason why he doesn't get anything is because of his attitude. He treats it as like he is the the be all and end all alpha. That's his
Yeah,
thing.
like see, even you talking about that, like take the Overwatch, the ex Overwatch Pro. Well, he still technically plays it, but he's a full time streamer now. Take XQC for example.
Yeah.
XQC was banned multiple times off of Overwatch, multiple times off of all these other things because of the same reason. He was outspoken. He spoke his mind, criticised everything. That was when I sent you the video. I mean, you watched that video. I'm getting stream side after the banana in Fortnite.
That's the one.
That's
Aye,
XQC.
I've got you.
That's
Aye,
XQC. And you,
aye.
as you've seen the way he is there, that's that. I'm going to put forward and say yes. I'm going to say that's a persona. Okay, same way when it comes to Tyler One. Tyler One is the best in my opinion. Has the best persona ever. The way he acts and stuff like that, to the way he really is. Like,
Yeah.
take him for example. He was one of the most toxic players ever on League of Legends, but it was who he was. He built up a fan base. He built everything on that, and it was awesome to watch. Then he got this lifetime ban, but because he reformed himself basically and tried to prove that he is a good guy, they gave him back his account and let him start playing. And now the guy hosts something called the T1LC or something like that. So basically like see all your amateur League of Legends players who not really getting that opportunity to show how good they are.
Yeah.
He hosts a full tournament for them to come and showcase everything, and he does it all from start to finish himself. And I'll put it forward like this because I know how much you like stuff like this. It's all meme worthy and stuff like that. Like he has a panel. I'll even use it. He has a panel of special guests.
Yeah.
And he literally sat there, and what I remember watching one of them. His panel of special guests was Barack Obama, The Rock, and I can't remember who the other actor was, but there was another actor there, and he's sitting there and talking to them all. And he's looking about, and goes, "Wait a minute, I didn't invite you guys."
Aye, so he's able to take the piss out of it in his own way, and that's good. I like things like that. That's always quite interesting because
it was funny as well because it used to throw in like if you want commercials as they call it in America, we know it as adverts. He used to throw stuff like that, and he goes like, "Let's have a word from our sponsors." He used to just promote his own stuff. Today's sponsor is brought to you by the Tyler One Merch Group. Today's sponsor is by G Fuel. Use code Tyler One. He was basically just plugging himself.
like, but the thing is though, so see for talking sake, that what I would like to think is that if we keep this going reasonably well, is that we can get some sort of sponsorship for the podcast. That would be nice, and I would be happy to plug a 30-second segment. 30 minutes will be fucking a good bit of money, mind you, but a 30-second segment here and there, basically just saying, and now a word from our sponsors, and memeing it, because that's the kind of thing I would do. A word
from our sponsor. Do you suffer? A word from our sponsor. Do you suffer from cutting itchy nuts? Well, not anymore. Use our product, Manscaped.
Oh god, but yeah, like things like that. Like for example, like that would be the way I would like to go down. Be it through YouTube, this on Twitch, something along those lines. Because a lot of podcasts have had some form of sponsorship. That's the kind of way you would like to see something like this go.
I'll even put it forward to you this way, mate. I'll put it forward to you this way. I watched the Wildcats podcast, the Wildcast. Do you know what his sponsors was?
What one?
AdamandEves.com. AdamandEves.com is a sex toy shop.
Hey, if they want to sponsor us, yeah. I don't think we'll have that kind of viewership, to be fair. But hey, money's money. But like
at the end of the day, mate, see for stuff like that, like the way it works out, and it's always the same. As I said, I would happily sit here and I'll happily sit here and record a bloody minute video with me and you, just me and you, talking back and forth about this sponsor.
I would do like a 1950s like door-to-door salesman.
Yeah.
Like, I would be like, hi there, sir. I believe I have a product that could definitely interest you. Here is the 12-inch
Manscaped.
the 12-inch Dark Destroyer.
Nothing to you. How about the dragon tip?
But like those who
our little friend Cartman has this to say.
Respect my authority!
Oh god. But like those kind of things like that would be again things like down the line like we can joke about. But like
oh, do you know, I just thought of a good one there with you and your Dark Destroyer. With your Dark Destroyer, you really need to.
the joys. But like things like that, just down obviously down the line, we're well away from all of that stuff. But
as me and you have spoken about, this is to us. This is just fun.
yeah,
Like
but
we'll
like,
both hold our hands up to this. This is just fun for us.
but I would like to
We get to
see
have
down the
Oh,
line.
yeah.
Like I'm thinking, like, obviously, I've kind of spoke to you about the 3 to 6 to 12 month plan. That's on all that kind of thing, and that'll
Yeah.
happen as time kind of goes on. There is
Yeah.
something for this as well.
See, before we start getting into a right off-branch conversation, let's wind it all back in. Okay.
Right?
The one thing that we've got to talk about is the one thing we haven't talked about yet is some developers, okay, for their content creators. Now, what I mean by that is a lot of developers will support their content creators, but to an extreme measure, as in, to me, the Overwatch one was the worst. If you were an Overwatch streamer, you were not allowed to stream any other game.
I
If you
wouldn't.
played
Well,
Overwatch,
we
that
kind
was
of
to be your main game.
mentioned that, but I wouldn't say that's support. I would say that they're basically
It's hostile.
protecting. Yeah, it's more a case of
It's hostile.
they're limiting who can do what. That's what it is. Is they're limiting. They don't want to share their top performers to play in other
Yeah.
games because they might then find that these people might end up enjoying the different games better, which is fair enough. That will happen. With certain things like that, that'll come across with, like, for example, if still playing Overwatch, an older game, and then they're ending up playing Warzone, and then for 2 weeks all they play is Warzone. Like, it's that leaves them, and I understand that, to be fair. But
It puts everybody in it puts it on like a wee bit of a bad, if you want, bad position, bad perspective for it. Like they're all just like all these creators and developers, they're looking at for their game, right? They don't want their top player, for example. I'll use Faker as a top player for League of Legends because I think he was voted something like the best League of Legends player at all times. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this. I could be wrong. But that's like League of Legends using him for example. This is the guy who's drawn all the eyes into the game, bringing everybody in, making everybody watch it. Oh, this is the be all end all for this game. If you want, they don't want him buggering off and playing another game like Dota or Heroes of the Storms. A game is basically like a challenging game to League of Legends. They don't want stuff like that to happen.
no, that's fair.
Like that was one thing. Like I'll bring Call of Duty back into it. That's one thing that was talked about at the start of Call of Duty season was if you're a Call of Duty pro in this Call of Duty league, you're not to play any other game. That is your game now. And as I said, who is it? I'm pretty sure it was Hex who turned around and actually fought against that because he was like, he has that vision, if you want, of no, anybody who joins my team is coming in here as a content creator first and foremost. Yes, they're signed to a professional contract. Yes, they will put the practice in. They will represent. They will do this, that, the next thing.
But if they want to take down time and play a different game, that's the thing. Is like there's the argument here and there. Like if you sign a contract, then you're tied in. That's the thing. Is you would expect the games companies or these organisations then are a bit more open and willing. Whereas with Overwatch, for example, they so it was a bit more of a, as you said, kind of toxic, kind of hostile environment.
Yeah, it was a hostile environment
against other content.
Yeah, like I'll put forward one thing like this as well. I'm going to use Valve here. You know who Valve are, don't you?
Yeah, Left 4 Dead and all that.
Creator of CS:GO as well.
Yeah.
Just I'm using CS:GO. They're the creators of CS:GO and the creators of Dota 2. Okay, Dota 2 is the bigger game, but I'm going to use Valve now for this example of, if you want, a company and devs not really caring very much. Well, I say not caring very much. They released a recent patch where now if you load up CS:GO, it's called the trust system basically. So you have a trust value on CS:GO now, and that's what puts you into games with people who they suspect are hackers to people who they know aren't hackers.
Right.
But the thing is as well, see that trust system? That trust system stops you streaming. Unless you switch off unless you switch off that trust system, it will stop you being able to stream the game because anything that detects as they call it, a third party host, i.e. OBS,
right,
it stops it. it basically stops it from being able to pick the game up.
So you would are you able to switch off the trust system?
You can switch off the trust system, but your trust score takes a nosedive then. So then again, you're getting fucked into a lobby with suspected cheaters. Even though you could be the most honest guy ever, you could play this game. You've played this game for 3,000 odd hours. You've never cheated once. You have grinded your way right up to global elite and everything. You have done everything honestly by the book, this, that, the next thing. And you've streamed the game every step of the way. The minute you switch off that trust factor, your trust value takes a nosedive. And on top of that, again, this was the biggest problem with CSGO was your cheaters. That's where Faceit came into play. Faceit was the third-party server where CSGO players used to go and play.
Yeah.
Because they couldn't get decent games. They couldn't get a decent lobby or anything. So with Faceit had basically what Valorant's got to know, what Riot's got with this system where it picks up cheaters like that.
Yeah.
That's what Faceit had.
I think the issue with CSGO is because it's an older game. It's hard. It was built to be modded and hacked.
You could turn around and say it's an older game. It's hacked and everything. If I'm right, CSGO was released in 2012. If I'm right,
I think you might be right. I don't know, man. Like that one's your.
I'm almost certain when I say CSGO's released it.
Because I would say, for example, like
right, CSGO's released it. Yep, 2012 CSGO was released in. So the game's 8-year-old. It's literally 8-year-old. It was 21st of August 2012. It was released in. So yeah, you could turn around now and say this game is 8-year-old. Okay, but now you do not have an argument anymore of, oh, it's an old game, but all right, you've had 8 years now to develop an anti-cheat system.
Yeah, no, you're right, but it's a case of with the older software that it's designed with, there might not.
There's no older software. All these updates and everything have brought it into where we are now.
Aye.
All the software there, they've kept everything the same, like the look, the feel, the graphics, and everything, but all the software is all up to date, and they can turn around. As I say, you can turn around and say this, that, the next thing. This trust system development that they brought in, as I say, cancels almost everything off. But as I said about it, like they can't turn around and cause Valve, personally to me, Valve can't turn around right now and say, "Oh, it's a problem that technology. We can't have that technology for an anti-cheat system."
Yeah,
Valorant's got that technology with an anti-cheat system, and it's only been out for like what 5-6 months now.
Aye, but again, I don't know that. See that I'm more meaning like see the kind of like the original code that the game's based around. So
yeah,
there might be some like really poor coding that limits the anti-cheat system, and that's why they've had to introduce this trust system. Oh, the only reason I've got an inkling on it is because like with computing from school, like I did advanced higher, so I know a little bit about coding, but this is above my pay grade. I can only like speculate, like give a bit of benefit of the doubt. Yeah,
it's the same with everything. Like all we can do is speculate. Like as I said, I will not badmouth. I want to just make that abundantly clear. I will not badmouth anything because I don't have the knowledge. I don't have the tech savvy. If you want, yeah, I might be able to build a PC, but I still need to go speak to another person if I'm unsure about something
to get a second opinion on these things. Like for example, I'll say this. I can only give a little bit of defense towards CS:GO because I have a little bit of understanding. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on that. But for example, with the
I said, I'm not going to turn around and badmouth them. I loved CS:GO when I first got the PC. I played that game religiously.
Yeah, I
actually got really, really good at that game. But as I said, that my issue with it is how they can turn around and release this trust system with the game, but at the same time turn around and say to you, okay, the way this trust system works is you can only have CS:GO.
Yeah.
If you have a PC, it's only CS:GO that's getting played, nothing else.
Well,
I stream it.
Aye.
Turn the trust system off, but then I can put it with cheers. It's a risk you need to take.
Aye.
Stuff like that annoys me. Like with Destiny 2, for example, I'll use Destiny 2 here again. I can't remind the exact thing that's up with them, but you cannot game capture Destiny 2. To capture Destiny 2, you need to do a Windows capture with them instead, and that means you need to turn your game from full screen into borderless window.
Right. All right.
So it's one of those ones like you can turn around and cause an argument between it all, but
Aye. Like, whereas for me, I'm going to go back to, for example, when we were talking about Nintendo. That's the one thing that I'll agree to disagree on as well. So
Yeah.
going back and saying that I'm not I don't believe Nintendo are doing the right thing in limiting their creators, but I believe that if they put a rule set in that would then say yes, you can do this if you have an OnlyFans, or no, you can't because you've got an OnlyFans, or you have to do something like age gate your content, then that would make it mean it sits right, and it would set a precedent across the rest of the industry, which is something that needs to be done because again, we're currently YouTube was the Wild West for years. You could get away with so much. We're on that kind of cusp of not being the Wild West anymore, but there's still so much that's unpoliced that you have to, and people think they can get away with certain things, but games companies think they can get away with certain things, which is it's just not good principle. So,
you know, even saying that, like against, like it's not against good principle stuff like that. Some things you could put down as border against human rights.
I'd say
I'm not saying it is like downright. We're against this and that. It's in a sense when you think about it. We'll use that lassie that you sent me, for example. That lassie makes a living off of two separate things. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's her right to be able to do what she wants to make a living.
Yep.
But now you have Nintendo turning around saying, "Oh,
Yeah,
you want to make a living off us?
There's your argument for it. Yeah, so you have to stop making your living off that. Yeah,
it's almost like a breach of your human choice. It's not like I won't use the word human rights. Okay,
yeah, that's exactly.
It's a breach against the choice. It's a breach against the choice. Like that's like, for example, that's like for me and you doing this podcast and them turning around to Twitch turning to us. If you want to continue this podcast, your job's up.
Yeah.
That's like that. That's basically what that's the way I'm trying to put it. Like
you're right. You know, I knew what you were meaning, and I was trying to work out the best way to kind of phrase it myself. But you got there, and that was the thing. Is you hit the nail on the head. It's again, it comes back to that principle of things, and I think see in the next year, 2 years, you're going to see this whole space change. And it's a topic. See, for example, once the new COD's out, see once the new consoles are out, and we see what cross plays like between them, and we see what happens with Bethesda and like platform exclusives. Then this is a topic that you'll find that you can revisit and understand in a sense that
I will agree with that. I will agree with that. Like this is to me right now. This is a topic we can revisit again
because it's one of those things that I think it's constantly going to change, and it's constantly going to be a topic that you can free flow around. Like for example, I'm going to lie, when I put this on YouTube, I'm going to clickbait the title Nintendo versus Only. I'm gonna lie, I'm starting to suss the algorithm a wee bit. And
oh yeah, you need to suss the algorithm. You really need to suss the algorithms.
But
to be fair, that's what it's almost like. It is almost like.
Aye, so I'm willing to take this. I'm willing to take this on the chin. I'll fight it. If I have to fight Nintendo, I will.
Fight it. See, at the end of the day, it's both of us doing it. And let's be honest here, I think if they turn around and try to fight it, I was going, I'll not buy your console. I think they're going to just look at us and go, right, they bought it.
It's a wee round of applause for the little man there. I know, but I know, man.
Yeah, have you ever heard of the Royal Clap? What's the Royal Clap?
I know, man, but I think that's as good a place as any to kind of to start finishing up, man. Because I think it's just a case of we see how it.
I want to point one thing forward to you, and I want to put this out to everybody, and I hope you keep this on the video when it goes on to YouTube. The day we kind of did come into this one a little bit more half-assed because I had a lot going on as well, and so did Reece. But the one thing I turned around to him and said before this all started during our chat before the stream was, I'll put money on it that we could rant this on for at least 2 hours. We're up to an hour and 50 minutes now, basically.
We're good at what we do, mate. We're good at what we do. I mean,
Reece, I'm just going to do it right in front. I'm going to do it in front of the world, in front of everybody. Thank you.
It's more. Mine's is more the fact is I know I end up remembering more about the topic as we spoke. That's
Exactly,
my
mate.
thing. Is it's a case of like but obviously we have our 50-minute interludes, should we say, where we were talking about controllers and different things. Like that's what we do. This is the ScotsRant. We're not actually as ranty as what I thought we'd be. We're quite
We're just talking about Willis.
we're not. We don't rant. We're actually quite well spoken
We're
about
tamed.
these things. We're
Tamed, like
I wouldn't say we were tamed. We're like, for example, we were.
for people who are going to come and watch us onto YouTube in the comment section as well. Leave a comment in the section for topics you want us to properly go off in a rant about.
Yeah.
I mean, a proper rant about, like, we come up with topics that we can have a good conversation about. Afternoon rigger, so we can have a good laugh and everything about it. But please, anybody who's there, if you watch us on YouTube, leave us a little comment and say, okay, pick us a subject and rant about it. Like, I'll put one thing forward. I know feck all about American politics, but I'll happily sit here and take a fucking Donald Trump.
I could give it a good go. I could have.
Oh.
I wouldn't. I mean, you know, my kind of range of knowledge is like it's just I soak up shite. Like I just soak up so much. It's just I'm sitting at my computer and I know, but that's it. It's like I'm sitting at my computer and I'm listening to something or I'm watching something in the background, and I've got.
No, right, I mean afternoon. I work night shift. This is afternoon now.
This is afternoon for you, aye. But I've got all this information coming in from me from a video. I've got another screen open over the top of it, and then I'm working on something, and I'm just like, yeah, like I'm just soaking up this different information. Like I've always got an audio book on. I've got a podcast about news on. All these different things is like I'm 4 walks a day with Alfie, my dog.
Yeah.
And I'll have maybe an hour and a half, an hour of one podcast and an hour of an audiobook, and I'm just soaking up different stuff. Whereas,
hey, Reece, how's your wardrobe set up?
it's quite cool, rigger, isn't it? Let me just make it really, really bright all of a sudden.
Dude, go get a tan.
I know, I could get a fucking tan off that screen.
Rigger, since you missed a bit, we'll have to go through. Today's episode of the ScotsRant podcast was brought to you by hand sanitizer. Get it while it's still clean.
Get it well.
Today's Halloween motto is no longer trick or treat, it's track and trace.
Oh, for fuck's sake, man, that was good from you. That was good. I'll fucking give you that one.
So to remember, Rigger, everything's switched off during the podcast, mate. I'll switch it back on for you, but wait, just after the podcast is finished.
Aye, so
We'll think about it that way. We want to go in that section, going into coronavirus, but we can't go and trick or treating anymore. They know it is. So instead of going out, remember, Rigger, this year when you go out for trick or treating, pal, when you're going out, it's no longer trick or treating. You chat with Don, go track and trace.
Track and trace. Fucking give old folk nightmares. Why are you tracking and tracing me? Who's got it? Who's got the Rona? Who's got it?
Don't worry, I brought my sanitizer.
Oh man, don't. That's a scary thought. Like that would probably give some poor person a heart attack. But yeah.
Rigger, if you're wearing gloves, mate, just remember when you gain that cavity search, to take the big rings off. Reese's face.
Oh,
if you wonder where I got that from Rush Hour when they were in the cab.
At Rush Hour 2?
To me, we just, I think it was Rush Hour 3 actually. It was when they went to France.
Ah, yeah, 3.
We just got violated by a small freshman with a very big ring.
Oh man, but aye, I think that's kind of a decent enough place to kind of to wrap up. That we've just went back down another rabbit hole. Or you just went in a big cavity, but
you would know about cavity searches.
No, thankfully not. I've not with this.
I've heard the stories.
Not with
I've heard the stories.
Not with the beard. Not with the beard. Talk about how shite the year's been. My year's been pretty good, actually.
You know something? Do you know something, Rigger? I will go for that for you, mate, alright? But I'm not going to talk about this year. I'm going to talk about 2 years ago when we lost all that shitload of celebrities. I mean, come on, we lost a legend known as Bruce Forsyth. That guy was supposed to outlive us.
Oh, God, the Brucey chin.
It's nice to see you,
Nice.
There we go.
Don't get that kind of energy for Brucey. You also kind of sounded like another dead celebrity that we shouldn't talk about.
But who's that?
He smoked cigars and had specific coloured glasses. You didn't sound like Brucey, mate.
Don't worry, Reece, I'll fix it for you.
Do you like the music of Wonder? That's a reference that.
Start wrapping them up.
Aye.
See, before we start wrapping them up, I've always wanted to ask this. Have you ever noticed how rude penguins are?
What?
Think about it. Listen to a penguin. Alright, go and watch any video and listen to a penguin. Have you ever noticed how rude they are?
You've got me beat here, man. I'll be honest.
Well, all the days call everybody a wank, didn't they? They walk about wank, 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 wank.
You are such a fucking dad. Honestly, that is one of the.
I've got that excuse now. I have that excuse. What's your excuse? What's your excuse?
Thankfully, mine don't find me, but.
To be fair, Reece, let's be honest here. Okay, 9 years ago, mate, this is exactly what happened.
What? We just become best friends?
Yep.
Yeah, nearly 9 years ago. 2 months. 2 months to go. And
2 months to
that's
go.
as I. That.
2 months ago, they may message the third and fourth guy who were out that night and call them both ball bags. Well,
I know.
one a ball bag and we asked the other one, is he still breathing?
Aye, basically. Well, to be fair, I think
Liam.
he's alright. I've not spoke to him in a couple of months. Like his parents are actually regular customers of mine in my shop. To be fair, it's just that they're always dead nice. What I was going to say is, you know how we keep talking about
Mad joke now, thanks.
you know how we keep talking about doing a kind of drunken stories podcast.
Yeah.
Let me work this out. 1, 2, 3.
If we were doing this by 5th episode, that would be in 2 weeks'
4.
time. It's the drunk stories.
Well, I'm not saying we do that. I say we do it on our 9 years of knowing one another, which would roughly be either the 4th or the 11th of December, because the 11th would.
I am so game for that.
The 11th would fall like in our kind of schedule, which is 5 episodes away. So we're doing it kind of at a reasonable point.
Rigger, since you're in the chat, mate, would you like to hear that one night? Be honest, pal. Would you like to hear that one night? Alright, and this is going to be something like we'll both be honest about as we're wrapping up here, because we really do need to wrap up. Me and Reece have known each other now 9 years come December. The adventures me and him have got on in that 9 year, we could literally fill about 3, maybe 4 podcasts full of it.
We could probably have maybe 2 podcasts, I'd say, because some of them they all kind of resolve it. Two of them kind of resolve around a few of them actually revolve around the kind of same summer, but it was just us just going out every weekend,
That one summer. I was possibly one of the best summers ever. Like,
or was it?
I remember that.
Was it actually was it the same summer? Because my issue is as well is as I've got older, everything just a little bit, man. Like,
well, I'll put it forward to you this way, mate. All right, we met 9 years ago, come December. All right, we met 9 years ago at our pals 18th up at my local of all things. All right, for there we kind of all stayed in contact, but we never actually started meeting up with each other again until 3 years later.
Yeah, I know.
It was 20. I think I was 20 when we started hanging back out again, and 20 when we all started talking, and then it was my 21st. We had the first night out again. We've had in ages.
I think so.
And then I'll put it forward to you this way, mate. It was 5 years ago. This summer the new 5 years ago is when we had that wild summer where we were out every fucking weekend.
Yeah, it must have been something like that. Like, it was a case of Because I was, no, but that was when I was working with British Gas, wasn't it?
I think so, mate. Like,
Aye,
I just
'cause-
started working. I just started working with the traffic management company.
Aye, that makes sense actually. Then, aye, because traffic management company. Because remember the roadworks down at British Gas.
Yep, I was
Eh.
doing there for months.
That was the one. Because I would always, because you'd sometimes finish when I finished my shift, and I'd get left up the road.
Say, man, you were starting your shift sometimes. You were like, "Well, are you still doing there?" I am. What time do you start? I was like, "I start at 6:30, mate." Do you mind dropping me off down there for about 7? I ain't bother.
Oh God, aye, the joys, mate, the joys. But I think it's definitely we've got interest in it, so we know that way, and we've got a few weeks to kind of, as I says, work on the podcast itself. It's definitely something that's
We've got time to work in a timeline as well, mate. Like I say, we can
aye.
start
We need to plan this one out.
We can start. Aye, we'll start for the usual. We'll start when he had a bowl cut and I was thin.
Aye. Oh God,
There you go.
we're going back.
There you go. We'll start for when he had more hair and I didn't have this bit attached to my face.
Oh no, back when I had hair up here and no here.
No, you still had your stubble and everything.
Aye,
Fucking hell, man, that is.
Aye, but no as bad as this. Like it was Megan's birthday. He's used to. It was about the time of that we had that Megan's birthday, and we were.
Megan's 25th.
Aye. No.
25th.
Aye, because that's when you were slagging my beard then. Because I remember that.
Is it Megan's 25th?
Welcome in, Saxon. Welcome in.
He wasn't even born yet.
I don't even think it was the 25th, but it was. Because remember that campus.
It was the year before the Wayne was born.
It was campus.
It was the year before the Wayne was born, and the Wayne was born in 2016. So she was born in 2016, so it would have been 2015.
Aye, there we are.
Yeah, it would have been 2015.
We've worked it out to an extent. But
So we got Satsum as well, mate. We're wrapping up the podcast as well for people in Reese's chat. I just seen Satsum pop up.
Yeah.
Talking about a podcast we want to do in the anniversary, me and him actually meeting, which would be 9 years come December, where we're going to sit here, and Reese will actually date with me because I know he will. We're both going to sit, and I think we'll sit with Jack Daniels, and we'll just talk about the story and the timeline for where we've met and start working up towards where we are now. But there's that much we have to fill in that it will probably take either 2, maybe 3 podcasts.
And some of it's a little hazy.
Some of it's a little juicy.
Aye, that. But
we'll put it this way. We'll give everybody a little taste of it all.
No. Well, let's not, because I need to.
I want to give the taste of it, of the night where we broke somebody's house, basically.
No,
just leave it at that.
Aye. That was the. There was no breaking and entering, should we say? We were invited in after a night out, and we proceeded to cause some damage by mistake, and we'll leave it there. Just because
by mistake. You think by mistake? I done it on purpose.
I'm trying. I don't want someone in the chat thinking, "Hold on, get these guys arrested. They've done something right." Some of us.
No. Like we'll be honest about it. Like everything that we and him have ever done in Night Suit, it's always been on a legal basis. But it's some of the stuff we've done is a little bit, if you want, out of control. It's like,
well, we were never really that bad. Like it was more just.
It started off
with a quiet pint.
The same way.
With a quiet pint.
Everything for me and him in our Night Suit. Everything for me and him in a night out started off the same way. It was always, let's go for a quiet pint. See it if me and Reese planned a night out, it never came to tuition.
Yeah, basically.
It was always you either went out, had a good couple of drinks, and
you're right,
what do you want to do? What do you want to do for here? And it's always, I can't be bothered. Let's go home. Then there was always, oh, you're out for a quiet pint, and that quiet pint turned into mayhem. To the point of we could have ended up anywhere. Like, do you know something? For people who are here, tune in December 11th, and I'm going to start posting this one out right now to get interest. December 11th, if you want to come back and hear all these stories, because that's
the anniversary. I would say it's definitely.
It's close to the anniversary. I think. What is it? Is it the 3rd?
Aye, but I'm keeping it on the kind of 2-week basis of that kind of thing. But also, it's somewhat it's not quite risky, but you know what I mean. There's a few things in there
You
that
know, see when
we'll
we
have
start,
we'll have to self edit. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know what we can and can't say.
yeah,
So
there'll be a
that's
lot
what
of
I'll.
stuff where there will be a lot of stuff where we can sit there.
It'll be
Like, for example,
redacted, redacted.
yeah, for example of it, so start talking, and you know, we just need to be really nice about it.
That sounds about right, aye. But I'm just let's end this before we get plan out because I know you have the stuff that you're going to say. And I'm dead.
All right, yeah, all right. For everyone, for us all, Reece, you're the outro man.
Yep.
For anybody who wants to stick in, I'm going to stream some Apex for a while. If you have Apex, it's now cross compat, so you can come over and play. We're going to take a wee. For me, I'm taking a short 5-minute intermission into the bladder and stuff. So
I'll
Reece, take it away.
probably wrap up on my end as well. I might stream some Hoi 4 later. We will see. Rigger's like old firm. I'm like, well, you've kind of get the two most neutral folk about it, to be fair. Like, that's the thing.
To be fair, Rigger, like, we'll put it forward to this way. I was brought up blue, Reece was brought up green. I prefer ice hockey and F1, and Reece doesn't give a fuck.
Basically. Aye. But we'll wrap up there anyway. That's us. We've been I've been Reece CR01. You've been
I've been Gizzy the Gremlin, of course.
This has been us talking about companies in relationship with creators, with fuck knows what else in this podcast. To be honest, guys, it's been a bit
Controller talk.
I don't know, man. This has been one of those things where we've just kind of we've done what we do and just talk weirdest amount of stuff. But thanks very much for everyone that's joined in. Thanks for jumping in, Satsum. We've had Vox in earlier. Someone asking me to put my leg behind my head.
I'm still going to give you 2 chickens if you attempt that.
No, money, please. Take money. But anyway, guys, I'm going to.
I will pay you 20,000 Chinese yen.
I can't do it, Satsum, because the commands are off on the stream. So I will chat to you all later. I know commands are off on podcast night, but thanks anyway, guys.
Don't ignore that. 20,000 Chinese yen to attempt it.
Which is 20,000 yen? Let me look that up.
I don't know. I think it's like the equivalent.
And is yen not? Is yen not something else? 20,000 yen. 146 quid. Nice. Which? That's about as flexible as I get. No, it's like it was 146 pounds, so it'll be like $180 or something like that. Satsum. But thanks very much for hanging out, guys. As I says, actually, to be fair, let's call it there, and I will see you all either later on tonight or probably tomorrow night if I'm streaming. If you want to go and watch Gizzy, I'm going to just kind of end on that. How do you know that, Satsum? Because you are a day trader. I'm not gonna lie, that is exactly why you know it. But we'll call it there, man. I'll just kind of raid you, man, just to kind of pass
No
on.
worries. So, as I say, guys, I'm going to smack a quick BRB screen up into the bladder, and then we'll be back for some Apex. We'll catch you on this.
Thanks, Satsum.